Republic of Benin foils coup attempt, regains control after seizure of state broadcast.
Vice President Kashim Shettima in Côte d'Ivoire for swearing in of President-elect Alassane Ouattara for the fourth term.
PTAD implements 32,000 Naira 10.66% and 12.95% increment for eligible defined benefit scheme. Pensioners under ITS management.
And on Good Morning Nigeria today, we shall focus on Nigeria's Category C in International Maritime Council.
Nigeria is targeting global ties in view of its admission into Category C of the International Maritime Organization IMO Council.
And the support Nigeria received during the admission process reaffirmed global belief in the nation's constructive engagement and its commitment to contributing effectively to the organization's mission.
The Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Adegboyega Oyetola, says Nigeria's victory is both a privilege and a weighty responsibility, noting that Nigeria understands the gravity of serving on a council that shapes critical global maritime policies.
Indeed, and the minister went further to highlight that IMO's mandate extends to improving international maritime safety, driving decarbonization, protecting the marine environment, enhancing maritime security, and building a sustainable blue economy.
That's true, Juma. Reforms currently ongoing in the sector aims to strengthen maritime safety and security, modernize ports, enhance flag and port state administration, advance hydrographic capabilities, improve seafarers' development, and expand critical maritime infrastructure.
Indeed, Ademola, and Nigeria will continue championing the values that underpin IMO cooperation, which are transparency, regulatory stability, and equitable global maritime development.
Nigeria also intends to intensify advocacy for capacity building for developing nations, expand avenues for technical cooperation, and promote a level playing ground that enables all states to confront emerging maritime challenges. On this note, I welcome you to Good Morning Nigeria, the first for the week. I am Ademola Adeoye.
And I'm Jumwe Yusuf. Thanks for joining us this beautiful Monday morning. We are live from Abuja, the nation's capital. Shortly, we'll join Mina Daniels for highlights of the morning news, and much later, we have newspaper review with Chukudi Okolu Baja. Mina, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning to you, Jumwe and Demola. Good morning and welcome to the news. The government of Benin has foiled what authorities described as a coup attempt aimed at overthrowing the democratically elected administration. A group of soldiers had earlier seized control of the national television station and announced the dissolution of the government. Meanwhile, the federal government of Nigeria has strongly condemned the attempted unconstitutional change of government in the Republic of Benin in the early hours of Sunday, 7th December 2025. A statement from the Minister of Foreign Affairs stressed that this act represents a direct assault on democracy and the will of Beninese people, while reaffirming Nigeria's stance with Benin, and commend the swift action of the Beninese authorities in defending their constitutional order, whose professionalism decisively repelled the coup attempt and guaranteed the president's safety. Nigeria reiterated that unconstitutional changes of government are unacceptable and undermine regional stability as well as progress. Therefore, the federal government is calling on ECOWAS, the African Union, and the international community to jointly uphold democratic principles. The Nigerian government is also urging all parties in Benin to remain calm, uphold the rule of law, and pursue peaceful dialogue. Nigeria reassured Benin of its full support as brothers and partners in deepening democracy and ensuring lasting peace and prosperity for West Africa. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has commended the gallantry of Nigeria's military on Sunday for responding swiftly to the request by the government of Benin Republic to save its 35-year-old democracy from coup plotters. Bayo Onanuga, special advisor to the president on information and strategy, in a statement says, acting on two separate requests from the government of Benin, President Tinubu first ordered Nigerian Air Force fighter jets to enter the country and take over the airspace to help dislodge the coup plotters from the national TV and the military camp where they had regrouped. It adds that the Republic of Benin, through its Ministry of Foreign Affairs, in a note verbal, requested immediate Nigerian air support in view of the urgency and seriousness of the situation and to safeguard the constitutional order, protect national institutions, and ensure the security of the population. In the second request, the authorities in Benin requested the deployment of Nigerian Air Force assets within Beninese airspace for surveillance and rapid intervention operations under Benin-led coordination. The Benin government also requested Nigerian ground forces strictly for missions approved by the Beninese Command Authority in support of the protection of constitutional institutions and the containment of armed groups. Nigeria's Chief of Defense Staff, General Olufemi Oloyede, said all the requests have been fulfilled, with Nigerian ground forces now in Benin. In his remarks after the restoration of the democratic and constitutional order, President Tinubu saluted the Nigerian armed forces for standing firm as a protector and defender of democracy. Vice President Kashim Shettima has arrived in Abidjan, the capital of Côte d'Ivoire, representing President Bola Tinubu to attend the inauguration of the president-elect Alassane Ouattara. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports that Vice President Shettima arrived Felix Houphouët-Boigny International Airport in Abidjan. He was received by the Côte d'Ivoire's Prime Minister Robert Mambe, the Charge d'Affaires Embassy of Nigeria in Côte d'Ivoire, Item Akpama, and other senior government officials. The president was re-elected for a fourth term in office on October 25, 2025, as president of Côte d'Ivoire, a West African country that shares cordial diplomatic ties with Nigeria. Both nations collaborate significantly within ECOWAS and the African Union on security, trade, and development, formalized by a bi-national commission and numerous agreements covering areas like anti-trafficking, agriculture, and digital economy. With strong informal trade and significant Nigerian diaspora in Côte d'Ivoire, fostering deep bilateral economic and social connections. The Vice President is expected back in Nigeria at the end of the inauguration. And in reference to media reports concerning a planned protest by a coalition of federal pensioners of Nigeria, citing alleged non-payment of pension increment arrears and palliative allowances, the Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate, PTAD, says it recognizes the constitutional right to protest, but wishes to state that following approval of an emergency budgetary allocation by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the subsequent release of funds by Ministry of Finance, PTAD has successfully implemented the 32,000 naira, 10.66% and 12.95% increments for eligible defined benefit scheme pensioners under its management. In a statement signed by the Executive Secretary PTAD, the implementation took effect with the September 2025 pension payroll and has continued to be paid till date. PTAD says in spite of fiscal constraints, it has continued to pay accrued pension arrears to all eligible DBS pensioners in tranches based on the availability of funds, while still awaiting the full release of the emergency budgetary provision that was approved by the President. And those are the news highlights. Good Morning Nigeria continues with Jumaine and Ademola after this timeout.
TerraQ, unwrap joy, unleash taste.
Give more strength to your hair with Mega Growth Leave-In Strengthener. It's infused with nourishing oils and conditioning proteins, so you can say goodbye to hair breakage. Wow! Mega Growth Leave-In Strengthener.
And the National Productivity Order of Merit Award goes to...
The only tomato paste manufacturer to win the National Productivity Order of Merit Award by the Federal Government of Nigeria, endorsed by the Association of Private Medical Practitioners of Nigeria. This is an evidence of 100% natural goodness. Eat healthy to live longer. Buy now and enjoy up to 20% discount.
Tomato paste, the taste of Nigeria.
Mommy, I got the school fees. You too much.
Now, money point to
Money points, thank you.
No worries, have good make up. Mogo Bible.
Victor. You they use money point?
Of course now, they use money points.
Confirm.
Money Point, made for your progress.
In today's fast-paced world, staying ahead demands peak performance from our bodies.
Like never before, our bodies need an optimum supply of essential nutrients, and Supermalt supports our daily nutritional needs.
Supermalt has 20 essential vitamins, minerals, and natural extracts for overall health and wellness. One Supermalt a day gives you energy and vitality, improves your mental performance, and supports your immunity.
Alright everyone, no put your ears, make we talk. Shout my teeth fresh now, but you know, I beg no be so. Ever heard of Colgate, the #1 oral care brand in the world? For zero cavities and long-lasting fresh breath. Mom, it's your time to brush. Mama and Papa buy up, use up and shine your smile. No more cover mouth. Because with Colgate, that will do ya down with your smile.
Little body, big moves. Little brain, big learning. Your little child is eager to do big things. Every sachet comes with the nutrients they need every day. Made from natural grains, contains protein and fortified with iron to support their physical growth, learning and development. So you can fully enjoy your little one's big moments of growth.
In a world hungry for goodness, with a splash of golden terra oil, a mom can transform a frown into a smile, make a lunch hour a happy hour. Change no thanks into yes please. Provide care when our nearest and dearest needs it most, and resolve family feuds without blowing a whistle. Providing tasty, nourishing family meals is all that matters. The world needs moms, because where there are moms, there is hope, happiness and love. Golden Terra Oil, pour pure love.
Let's go, darling.
Say what?
I like what I see, can't get enough of me.
latest styles that make you feel like a darling.
Dear Santa, I have been a very good boy. Please, can I have a special breakfast for Christmas? And also, I want to put a smile on my mommy's face. It's Big Santa! Thank you, Big Santa.
Enjoy Christmas at its peak.
Imagine lovely meals you can cook with these ingredients. You spend heavily, but no guarantee of a tasty meal. Not making a right choice of seasoning cube can ruin your meal, money, and confidence. For a tasty meal, do not compromise. Choose Gold.
Use Terra Gold for the rich, consistent taste your loved ones crave for. Good for soups, stews, and jollof. Terra Gold. 1 cube, endless possibilities.
My champs, they use energy at school.
Your champs need nourishing energy. Give them Milo at breakfast.
It has nutrients that support energy release.
Milo!
No buy am!
But why?
No see say this big bull bag of rice no get the new big bull holographic seal.
Not true.
Introducing the Big Bull Holographic Seal Tape, your favorite authentic Big Bull rice, 50 kg and 25 kg. Now with holographic seal tape. This is to ensure you get the premium product from Big Bull Rice. Do not buy if the holographic seal tape is not on the bag or is broken. Big Bull Rice. Tasty rice nourished you.
The Financial Services Regulation Coordinating Committee, FSRCC, in collaboration with the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, wishes to draw the attention of the public to the worrisome increase in the activities of illegal financial operators, IFOs, which threaten public trust and the stability of the Nigerian financial system. The FSRCC and NBC hereby advises the general public to refrain from dealing with unlicensed financial operators who deceive individuals with unrealistically high investment returns. Make sure to verify the licensing status of such companies and schemes on this website. To report any suspicions of illicit financial activities, call CBN 0817-665-7060, SAC 0209-462-1168, 0916-772-3240. Let's work together to uphold the integrity of Nigeria's financial system. Announcer, FSRCC.
Stay with us. You're still watching, you're still on to Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA. It's now time for newspaper review. Stay with us.
Reviewer Chukwudi Okolubaja is seated here in the studio. Chooks, the boy, good morning.
Good morning, Jumai. How are you doing?
I'm okay.
A relatively good weekend, but this Benin, military whatever, gave me a sour mood. Demola.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good to see you.
Same here. How madam with the children?
They're good.
You hear from them?
They're doing well.
Thanks to GSM. Thanks to God first.
And how did Arsenal do?
Arsenal was not going to go, all, you do it, you rested it, Velase.
We arrested a bit.
Velase, who say attire? Na rest, they rest you. If you not tired, why? If you don't, like say not tired.
Demola is looking at you.
He's trying to console himself.
Old school, man.
He's trying to console himself.
Yeah,
it's okay.
So let's get the papers.
No
I'll begin with the Nigerian pilot. And in the Nigerian pilot front page, just above the masthead, NDLEA intercepts 7.6 million tramadol pills, 76,273 kg of Colorado. Details on page 5. And on page 6, NSCDC arrests 3 suspects of telecoms vandalization. And that on page 6. And Ocean Poll. APC in turmoil as Omisore others blow hot over mass disqualification. Details on page 10. France will intensify counter-terror assistance to Nigeria. That's coming from the French President Macron. Details on page 6. And at the bottom plate of the Nigerian pilot, for failed coup, ECOWAS may deploy standby force to Benin. Find the details on page 7. Foreign policy, Nigeria remains non-aligned, says Tuga, Foreign Affairs Minister. Details on page 8. Ribado holds security talks with U.S. congressional delegation in Abuja. Details on page 5. And Army freezes officers' retirements amid nationwide security emergency. And the headlines. FG raises alarm, saying no fewer than 700,000 out-of-school children identified in 1 month. That data on each child, including photograph, location, age, among others, were captured. Explains that data is most comprehensive, verifiable digital base of out-of-school children, and urges state governments to commence process of enrollment of identified children. Let's quickly go to the leadership newspaper. Leadership newspaper, above the masthead, 14 arrested over failed Benin coup, with riders, weak institutions, economic mismanagement behind coup resurgence in West Central Africa. That's coming from security experts. And ECOWAS Nigeria condemn coup attempt. Details all on page 4. And the picture story you see there, 100 Niger school children freed. That's good news. Pictures confirm release, but government security officials decline comments. You find the details on page 7. At the side piece of the picture story of the released Niger school children, cargo imports rise by 50% amid Naira stability, lower inflation, page 30. The First Minister Musa will deliver. That's coming from the Kebbi State Governor. Obasanjo reiterates carrot and stick approach to end insurgency. Details on page 7. Imams Association false testimony on Sharia law before U.S. Congress. You also find the details on page 7. And People's Democratic Party faction sets up National Caretaker Committee. Details on page 28. And UBA Group wins Africa's Bank of the Year for third time in 5 years. You find all the details on page 7. And Chevron Nigeria hasn't recorded oil theft in 2025. That's coming from the managing director.
All right, let me start with the Business NG. Just above the nameplate of Business NG, Rivers PDP faces legal battle amid mass defections. Details on page 2. Defections accelerate APC's dominance ahead of 2027 election. Now, the major headline reads, LG autonomy crisis deepens as court rebukes federal government, rekindling national tension. Details of that story can be found on page 2. Nigeria banks mobilize 3.7 trillion ahead of CBN recapitalization deadline. Details of that story, it's there as well. Macron pledges stronger counter-terrorism support for Nigeria after talks with Tinubu. Now, moving on to Daily Trust newspaper. The Daily Trust newspaper, just below the nameplate, genocide, U.S. lawmakers visit Nigeria on fact-finding mission. Details on page 7. What you should know about non-interest mortgage in Nigeria. Then details on page 39. Bandits kill 7 in Sokoto communities. Details on page 7. Why coups are unsettling West Africa. That's the major headline. We can get that story on page 3 and 4. Decomposed body of Quranic teacher found in Niger. Details of that story on page 7. IMO seals hotel mortuary over alleged organ harvesting. And airfares rise by over 300% in 2 years. Chooks.
IMO seals hotel mortuary over alleged organ harvesting.
Yeah.
What is it again? You remember the Okotoko saga? And even if you were not within that access, you cringed. Anything you heard, anytime you heard that a visitor to a hotel could just like that.
Just disappear.
There are so many things we hear
Security.
in Africa, and you say, what sort of people are we really? Anyway, I don't agree with Daily Trust, the political analysts, diplomats, and civil society organizations who are identifying bad governance, sit-tight syndrome, among others, as the reasons for the rising spate of coups in West Africa. You know, when you want to talk about coups, you have to be careful with the communication of it. Who says the military, give these people 3 more years? You'll soon hear about a palace coup, a coup that outstages a coupist and all that. It's always that. It's a matter of time. Watch them. You know, for Africa to move forward, Africa needs to change some of the ways it thinks. There are ways Africa thinks that cannot advance anything. The other time we started hearing about African democracy. Democracy is democracy. It's about government of the people, for the people, by the people, transparency in handling funds and all that, which African, or they want to integrate the monarchy into it. Africans just have to agree that an organism preserves its own life and learn to preserve its own life on the continent. We have hangovers from the tribal wars of those days. They are still there. So but I tell people, when you say blah, blah, blah is a no man's land and all that, I said, stop that. You don't say that in Africa. African patch of soil belongs to somebody. That is how Africans think. That is how we think. So watch your language.
But we have to let go of the past for us to move forward, to progress, like other climes around the world. We can't be holding back to past too long. Times are changing.
I agree with you. How do we do it?
Times are changing. Our mindset, we need a total reorientation.
How do we do it?
Think.
It's not the National Orientation Agency can't do it. The peoples of Nigeria have to agree. I said the other time, if APC, if they win in 2027, they continue, and they don't arrange a talk shop, like what Goodluck Jonathan did in 2014, they are not helping us. Please, I'm not castigating it. I'm telling you, I'm suggesting strongly to you how we can come together again.
Even if it's a talk show, you know, even
Adamawa lady, waiting be your grouse. Or if it's a man, what is your problem?
Even if it's
but
a town hall.
woman, waiting you, they complain about.
What are they allowed? Look, let me tell you, when they have the town hall, the people who matter, whose voices needs to be heard, don't get access.
Which, again, is an African problem. Because the process of selection is already flawed.
Yes. The hierarchy of,
Africa concocts its own problems and puts it on itself. We have to change.
We have to change.
But the coups, I can assure you that nobody is going to try that nonsense in Nigeria. The world won't let you.
The way Nigeria went all out yesterday.
They'll tell you when you endanger life in Nigeria, and the prospect of a crisis, maybe a war, is that the refugee problem will swarm the whole of South. They wouldn't let you. So let nobody begin to... they won't let you.
They won't let you.
They will push you out after... The world will push you out after 1 week. You know? So let us count our teeth.
If they are given 1 week, it's
airfares rise by 300% in 2 years.
What?
Airfares.
Okay, you're telling me so that I talk to Nigerians about what it concerns me. No, I don't have to go. They carry me up and down now. You know, inflation is a fact of life. When I started work at the Bendel Broadcasting Service way back in 1995, my salary was at 250 naira. What is the salary of a graduate now? It's a function of inflation. About 100,000, 120 if you're lucky and all that. So
I don't know,
prices will rise. But in our own case, it's too meteoric. Because there is no supervision. People do things with impunity. They claim things so easily, and there's no way you can tell them you're telling us a lie, because those who should curtail the excesses maybe are not proactive enough. Airfares will rise, but I think it's too steep. The rise is too steep.
you know, and we dollarize every aspect of our life in Nigeria. What else do you expect?
Exactly.
And I want good news. And one thing I was, reading over the internet yesterday and in the papers today, Army freezes officers' retirement amid nationwide security emergency. That's a good move.
Okay, officers' retirement.
Yes.
That
means, before when
hey
you
guys,
get a new CDS, a new chief of army staff, anybody above them retires. People trained with Nigerian money across the world on security.
Somebody was lamenting.
They are told to go.
Somebody was lamenting the huge loss.
Yes.
The turnover in the army is to Nigeria.
Yes.
Do you know what it means to train a man to the post of general, even colonel? Or do you know? It is a huge
investment.
A very huge one. It is very huge expenses. So I like it. I'm saying sometimes many of the Nigerians that are retired are not yet tired.
They are not tired.
They are not. They are not. Look at me. I'm no longer in the newsroom. Don't I sound firebrand enough to write the best headlines? He's jealous. You know.
You're not tired.
Macron is. Let's still dwell with Nigeria and the sub-region. Macron is saying that they need to support Nigeria more in the anti-terrorism, whatever. We are really the bride of the West.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All this Trump matter is about getting Nigeria to their apron strings.
Shooks, thank you.
As a bride, you can work jejely work.
Astro will demolish your people after.
Thank you. All right, we'll take a break now. When we return, our conversation for today will kickstart. Stay with us.
You have no better friend and partner than Nigeria. Let this unveiling today be a call to conscience. Let our practitioners hold the line of truth. To the media, please inform with integrity and with a deep sense of patriotism. To our public officers, communicate with transparency. To citizens, please let us speak with empathy. Let us come together to become the voice of responsibility, the voice of the world that heals division, that inspires hope and drives development.
When malaria knocks you down, you can be sure parasites are having a party in your system.
Welcome to our new kingdom, guys!
Comel, an effective weapon against malaria. Attacking the parasite army directly to give you express relief and get you back on your feet effectively. Comel on. Malaria gone.
What wakes you up in the morning? Is it the sunrise? Is it the alarm? No. It's your dream that wakes you every day. It's what drives you like a powerful engine. That's why you start strong every day with the rich, creamy taste of Nescafe 3-in-1. Carefully crafted from selected coffee beans. You're on your hustle, and you won't stop until you succeed. Start strong, finish strong.
Good, tasty food is worth living for. Worried about your oil? Every time you enjoy your favorite meal? Introducing Smart Balance. Smart Balance Rice Bran Oil is rich in Gamma Original. Golden Terra Smart Balance Oil reduces bad cholesterol.
Power Oil Light. Light enough for movement. Real enough for taste. Power Oil. My choice for my family. They always come back for seconds. I know why. Power Oil. My choice for my family.
My champs, they use energy at school.
Your champs need nourishing energy. Give them Milo at breakfast.
It has nutrients that support energy release.
Let's go, darling.
Mirror, mirror. I like what I see. Can't get enough of me. I feel like a darling. I feel like a darling. Mirror, mirror.
Darling Braid. Wear the latest styles that make you feel like a darling.
What would you need?
Guys, food is ready.
Cook to impress.
Confidence is important in life's little moments. Strong teeth can help, even if they get her into trouble sometimes. A great smile is useful to break the ice, and making friends is easier when you know you have fresh breath. I give my family confidence with Pepsodent Triple Protection 123. Its antibacterial action formula gives them cavity protection, white teeth, and fresh breath. The confidence of 3 toothpaste in 1. Pepsodent Triple Protection 123.
Lagos, Port Harcourt, Abuja. The city is moving. New voices, heavy drip, all heart. From the streets to the stage, this is the next Afrobeat star. And the talents from all over showed up to own the room. But they're not alone.
Spiritual. Gospel.
All chasing a slot to face the judges. Puffy T, SARS, Andre Vibes, P Pride. Catch next Afrobeat star on.
You're watching Good Morning Nigeria, and to push our conversation today with our guests who are already seated, let's take this background report put together by Timothy Yusuf on Nigerian Category C in International Maritime Organization Council. We'll be right back.
In a landmark diplomatic victory, Nigeria has successfully secured a seat in Category C of the International Maritime Organization IMO Council for the 2026-2027 biennium, effectively ending a 14-year absence from the global maritime decision-making body. The election, which took place on Friday, November 28, 2025, during the IMO General Assembly in London, saw member states vote overwhelmingly to return Nigeria to the influential council. Experts believe that the victory is seen as a major endorsement of the country's recent reforms in the maritime sector. They emphasized that the success is being credited to the aggressive and strategic campaign led by the Minister of Maritime and Blue Economy, Adegboyega Oyetola. Findings show that Nigeria's return to Category C, a category reserved for states with special interest in maritime transport or navigation, signifies a restoration of the country's influence. With this seat, Nigeria regains a strategic voice among the Committee of Maritime Nations, as the position will allow the country to play a more effective role in formulating policies on international shipping governance, maritime safety and security, as well as the development of the blue economy. Stakeholders have hailed the development as a new dawn noting that the country's 14-year exclusion had limited its capacity to influence critical decisions affecting its maritime trade and waters. The 2026-2027 tenure is expected to be used to consolidate these gains and attract further investment into the Nigerian maritime corridor. For more, let's now join our guest in the studio.
Thank you very much, Timothy Yusuf, for that background report. We already have in the studio one of our guests for today's conversation on Nigeria's admission into Category C, an International Maritime Organization Council. I'm talking about Dr. Emeka Okengu, who is presently engaged as one of the various local and international experts involved in the various aspects of the technical cooperation with the World Bank under the Problem Initiative towards the development of coherent blue economy in Nigeria. He was also a member technical committee on national policy for marine and blue economy. Dr. Okengu, it's good to have you again.
To be here.
This time around on maritime.
not agriculture.
or economy.
Economy.
Well, it's actually economy. I mean, if you're talking about
it is economy, actually.
Yes. Right. And from Lagos, being joined via Zoom by Dr. Bolaji Akinola. He's the Special Assistant to Assistant to the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy on Media and Communication. Thank you so much for joining us. It's good to see you again.
Virtually, please. Thank you.
And also joining us via Zoom from London is Captain Caleb Nladibako. He's a seasoned master mariner and founder Fulham Marine and Offshore Services Limited. It's good to see you once again. Good morning.
Yeah. Okay. Let's start our conversation with the essay to the Minister on Marine and Blue Economy. That's Dr. Akinola now. Dr. Akinola, I mean, the re-election of Nigeria into Category C has been described as a good development, and as a result of the various reforms in the maritime sector and the security safety that Nigeria is providing, especially in the Gulf of Guinea. Now, how would you describe the engagement of Nigerian government, with stakeholders, for government for us to be re-elected into their Category C, and what are some of the challenges?
At all, you are muted. Maybe you want to unmute so that we can hear you.
Go ahead, we can hear you. Go ahead.
No, we can hear you. Okay, let me repeat my question. I said earlier that the re-election of Nigeria into Category C of the IMO has been described as a really good development, which is as a result of the various reforms in the maritime sector. Now, I just want you to tell us, because you are part of the conference, you are at the conference, tell us the engagement that the government had with stakeholders for us to be successful at that election.
Yeah.
I think there's a problem with the audio. Mr. Emeka, let's get your views on that. Just you respond to that question.
Okay,
begin with that.
Yes. The first thing you would want to put into context, will be your policy structure. Nigeria, remember, a few months ago had approved the national policy on the marine, and blue economy, and that was the first, being a young ministry. The second is that, again, there's been a lot of aggregation. There's been a lot of, collection of resources, from across, to be able to support the new ministry. The third, of course, you would put straight onto the table of the minister and his personal touch. He's done a lot of policies, a lot of programs, a lot has been done in that sector, that showcases Nigerians' preparedness and capacity to be able to stay in that category. But having said that, Category C is not the highest category.
Yeah.
Okay, it's just one category below the D. You still have the A and the B. And out of the 135 nations, why this is a big deal is that council is made up of, 40 members, 10 in the category A, 10 in the category B, and then 20 in the category C. And then in that category C, you only have 5 slots, for Africa. Okay, and I think right now there are just about 4, members that's been admitted. I think Nigeria, Egypt, South Africa, Morocco. So, but the whole idea of that category is that it shows that the international maritime system recognizes, that you're ready, to move it forward. That you have, the technical, the managerial, the human, and then most importantly, the legal and governance frameworks, to now play in that international maritime space. So that would just be a very simple and straight answer to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Dr. Akinola is ready now. Dr. Akinola, can you hear us clearly now?
Yes, I can hear you clearly. Good morning.
Okay. My question earlier was that many stakeholders have described the re-election of Nigeria into Category C as a good development, going by the various reforms, in the maritime sector now. We just want to find out, because we know that you are at the council, at the conference in UK. Tell us the government engagement with stakeholders there that made it possible for the re-election.
Thank you very much. It was a year-long engagement. In December last year, the Honorable Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Dr. Adigboyega Oyetola, set up a technical committee chaired by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Olufemi Oloruntola, to start this campaign. So it didn't just happen during the election. We've been working on this for the past 1 year. It was really intense and rigorous. The Honorable Minister himself, for the first time in the history of this country, the Minister led the campaign for our IMO Council re-election. He was deeply involved. He traveled across the world. We accompanied him, those of us who work with him, and he engaged as much as possible. It was a huge diplomatic shuttle that the Honorable Minister decided to launch, and it paid off eventually 14 years after we've been trying to get into the IMO Council. And I am very happy that the election happened because it happened at a time that our country needs a lot of international goodwill and public relations. And I think it tells us that we are not alone as Nigerians. The world is very much with us. The international community is very much with us, and they have confidence in this administration.
Have confidence in this administration is quite interesting now. Can you sort of make us understand the significance, and impact, on maritime governance, and how this seat will enhance Nigeria's ability to sort of influence international shipping regulations around the world?
Indeed, thank you very much. That is the real reason why Nigeria thought it should be in the council, because this is where the decisions are made concerning international shipping. I give you an example. There is, of course, because of the global warming, there is a move to reduce emission from shipping, and as a result, certain kind of vessels will be phased out. And there is a huge drive for so many changes that will affect shipping globally. We need to have a voice in that kind of discussion, not just for us, but for the whole of Africa. Imagine phasing out petrol vehicles as we speak within the next couple of years. Imagine phasing out diesel trucks within the next few years. The electric vehicles that are coming out are new. How many Nigerians can afford to buy brand new vehicles in the name of electric vehicles right now? So while these are very good initiatives, we must have a voice to be able to protect our own people. If certain kind of vessels are phased out, it will have implication on our own international trade. These vessels will eventually be phased out, but there must be sufficient time for developing countries like ours to position ourselves to be able to play in that arena. Phasing out certain kind of vessels should not phase us out of business. See, that is why we must be in the council where decisions are made to be able to have a voice and to fight the cause of developing countries and the cause of Africa. We are not even able to acquire the existing kind of vessels yet. So if we immediately raise the bar and phase out what we are even struggling to acquire, it means we make it a lot more difficult, for instance, for our ship owners to compete. And the desire of this government is to ensure that Nigerian ship owners are able to participate in the affreightment of our trade, both coastal and international trade.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Akinola. We'll get back to you later in the course of this conversation. Let's just introduce our guest in Lagos studio. That is talking about Emmanuel Ilori. Emmanuel Ilori is an engineer and former senior marine surveyor, Lloyd's Register, London. Mr. Ilori, it's good to have you on this conversation. This conversation.
Very much, and thank you for having me on this very important maritime program.
Thank you very much. We'll allow you to settle down. We'll get back to you later in the course of this conversation. But let's get to Captain, our Zoom guest now, talking about Captain Danladi Bako, who is joining us via Zoom from London. Now, Captain Bako, what do you think are likely to be the key areas Nigeria will focus on now as a member of the IMO Council, and how do you think it will benefit the country?
Yeah, thank you very much for to join this important discussion. As the Dr. Bolaji has mentioned earlier, election of Nigeria into category C IMO Council comes with a lot of benefit. It comes with a lot of benefit in the sense that, first of all, we are going to be sitting in the highest decision-making body of IMO. That means our voice will be heard. That means Nigerian is going to contribute significantly when there are changes in IMO conventions. We have different IMO conventions, such as SOLAS Convention, STCW. We have MAPOL, which have to deal with pollution from ships. We have STCW that deals with training and certification of seafarers. So when there is any amendment that has to do with this convention, we are at the forefront. Our voice will be heard. That's a very, very important one. Nigeria will be involved in crucial decision-making. Like Dr. Bolaji has mentioned, the world is facing the challenges of climate change at the moment. And then we are moving through decarbonization. So Nigeria is going to sit at the council where their voice will be heard for other countries within the Gulf of Guinea and Africa entirely. Let's also look at visibility. Voting Nigeria into category C IMO Council makes Nigeria to be visible due to the long diplomatic engagement that the Honorable Minister have done. What does it mean? It means that we are going to attract a lot of investors. We are going to attract a lot of investors that will come and invest in areas such as shipbuilding, areas such as port modernization, which is very, very important and very crucial. Another very important benefit that we are going to drive has to do with technical cooperation, and technical assistance. We are going through some phases of challenges, which I believe this election will be the theme of the past. For instance, you have to look at some of the boat mishap that has happened. But with our election into category C, we are going to gain technical support, we are going to get expertise support that is going to help us to address most of these challenges. Let's also look at the idea of manpower development. Electing Nigeria into this category C is going to improve a lot of manpower development and capacity when it comes to training of cadets. Now we'll have more bed space because we are going to be more visible. There's a political will. The most important aspect, there is no blue economy that is going to thrive without security. And Nigerian government has shown political will. If you look at the Deep Blue project that Nigeria embarked on and the regional cooperation within the Gulf of Guinea, it yields a positive result. And in the past 3 to 4 years, there have never been a single case of piracy. What does that mean? That with Nigeria in IMO Council, they are going to push for more engagement when it comes to regional cooperation, intelligence gathering, and security in the Gulf of Guinea and Africa entirely. So election of Nigeria to category C comes with a lot of benefit that the Nigerian government is going to benefit. Apart from that, the visibility is important. We are going to have cooperation with different regions such as European Union, African Union, and ECOWAS. That is going to give Nigeria a more visibility.
So much. I would still like to stay with you for a while. I remember when we had this conversation the other time, you know, you were really concerned about the cadets itself, and now it's like there's more opportunities for the cadets to come on board. Now, Dr. Okwengo told us that category C has like 20, you know, nations, and Africa has like 4, and 5 or 4 or 5, and I believe that is, you know, moving forward. We were there before, and we sort of, would you like to explain to us what happened that we lost out, you know, then, and now that we are back? What specific global maritime issues can Nigeria now help shape more effectively, and in what ways can Nigeria's, you know, category C membership strengthen regional representation of West Africa and Central Africa indeed?
Okay, that's a very important question. We have lost out in the past 14 years, and Nigerian government has been trying for the past 14 years to get into the council. So it's very important for us to explain the categories. We have category A, category B, and category C. Category A is made up of 10 member states that have interest in largest international sea services. And category B are 10 member states that have the largest interest in international seaborne trade, while category C comprised of 20 countries that are not elected in category A or B, but have interest in maritime transport and navigation, and they have to ensure equal representation across the geographical zones, which is important. What happened? We lost out. It's not that we have not been trying, but if you look at this administration, a lot of effort has been made. First of all, this is the first time we have a Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy. It shows a political will from the government. Secondly, let's also look at the Marine and Blue Economy Policy, the 10-year plan that has just been launched by and approved by the Federal Executive Council. It also has a roadmap to address most of the long outstanding challenges that the Nigerian port and maritime sector has been facing. So if you also look at the Deep Blue project I mentioned earlier, it has reduced the piracy to the barest minimum, and also the strong diplomatic outreach by the Honorable Minister and the member of technical committee has gone a long way. So I strongly believe that in this election, Nigerians have really shown the will, and there are a lot of reforms that are ongoing, reforms in the marine and blue economy. We have a lot of potential. Nigeria is made of over 850 kilometers of coastline and over 10,000 kilometers of inland waterways, which is very, very important for harness into those potentials. And electing Nigeria into that council will ensure that all those potential are being harnessed, which is important. And also, very important, visibility is the key, because we are going to be involved in the highest decision-making body of IMO. Our voice will be heard. When there is a new convention or a new regulation that's coming to force, Nigerians are sitting right there in the seat. So they have greater influence to change a lot of convention. We have greater influence now to change a lot of resolution that's going to affect the safety of shipping and maritime landscape.
Okay, thank you so much, Captain Bako, for your opening comment there. Let's bring in Mr. Emmanuel Ilori into this conversation. The recognition of Nigeria, is being celebrated across the country, and the maritime industry and reforms that has brought us to this state that we are in now in Nigeria and progressing in the maritime industry. Can you tell us how this recognition sort of affect ongoing efforts against piracy and maritime crime in the Gulf of Guinea, which Captain Bako mentioned, and does Nigeria's position sort of help attract more global support for maritime security reforms, which the blue economy is trying to bring out for Nigerians to understand that reforms can shape how a ministry can move forward?
Thank you very much, and for inviting me to this very critical program in the history of our dear maritime sector. And let me start by congratulating Mr. President for the political will that pushed us to this election, because without the push from the very, very top, it would have been very difficult. Somebody has said that we've been out of the council 14 years ago, and we know the effort that went into getting to the council about 16 years ago. It was a Herculean task. Now, and to the minister himself, I'm sure he must have had sleepless nights agonizing on how he's going to comply with Mr. President's directive. So this is a very good development for the nation in terms of our visibility, in terms of our influence on other nations. But we must put this in context. The maritime industry sits on three planks: political, economic, and technical. Now, we have played our political card very, very well, particularly, and then we are in the council, which shows that Nigeria can convince other nations to join us. We've been trying for this for so long. Now, on the issue of security, Nigeria took a lead addressing the maritime security concerns. If you remember, in the Horn of Africa, where the security challenges there were huge, and there was a global effort to eradicate that, and it's still work in progress. Well, here we have Nigeria taking the lead in West Africa, making sure that not only the trade to Nigeria is secure, but the trade along that bight of Biafra and the Gulf of Guinea is secured. I mean, that's making a statement to the international community that Nigeria has significant interest in global trade, particularly the maritime trade, and that Nigeria will do whatever it takes to ensure the security of that corridor. And that's congratulations to the administration for the various initiatives taken to secure this corridor. And that we've been able to play on that strength, seeking the membership of IMO Category C. However, we must remember that we have been here before, and you mentioned in your comment that what happened, why did we lose the election to the council? The present minister has put together a lot of initiatives, so we must not forget that implementation is critical. Yes, we have played our political card and diplomatic card, but now going forward, my concern is that we must sustain the membership of the IMO Council. And that means we must be able to work on the technical dimensions. Because don't forget that the IMO Council, the IMO itself, is a maritime technical organization where a lot of activities take place outside the council before it gets to the council. So Nigeria must be seen to be an active technical player in all that concerns the global maritime industry. And I'm sure that we have what it takes to do that, because once we're able to secure our technical position as a sound technical voice in the IMO community, in the global maritime community, then we are there playing our part to not only to secure our economy, to secure our position, to create jobs for our people. Don't forget, the maritime industry is dependent not only on foreign direct investment, but significantly on our own local development. So we must be willing to take the necessary action that will ensure that we do not get back to the position where we went to the council, the global community believed in us, they elected us into the council, and by the second attempt, we lost out. So that's where I'm coming from. Yes, fantastic. The selection, the team that did the campaign for us did a fantastic job. But then we must now be able to move, to change gear, to ensure that we don't find ourselves in a position where we will lose out again at the next election. There are so many areas that Nigeria can participate, that Nigeria can develop, and we must be willing. I mean, if Mr. President has told us, given us the marching order to put Nigeria on the global map, we too must be willing to take the necessary initiatives that will make sure that we secure that position.
Okay, thank you very much, Engineer Ilori, for that, your opening perspective there, that Nigeria needs to take a lot of initiative and also ensure that we are actively involved in the technical matters. We'll get back to you. Let's come back to the studio now, where we have Dr. Okengu. You have listened to the various perspectives concerning Nigeria's re-election into the category C. And just like Engineer Ilori said, that there is need for us to be able to sustain that effort. And Captain Bako talked about, the political issues and that we have been able to surmount. And also, let's look at the economic benefits now. And what are, the economic benefit Nigeria can expect from this re-election. That's talking about the presence of the IMO, Nigeria's presence in the IMO. How will it attract the foreign investment into the Nigerian blue economy?
Well, I think everybody has spoken, had been very, clear about.
Want to get your view?
Yes, I was trying to take it and then get to somewhere. What's exposure, contacts, interests, and all that. But what's critical is your modus operandi, or your operational, readiness. And this is where your ports, come into play. Mm-hmm. And when you're talking about your ports, you're talking about your port infrastructure. And if you're talking about your port infrastructure, it is the technologies that operate these ports. And you must give it to the minister, or the ministry led by the minister. A lot of work has gone in there. Everybody has also talked about security, which is making Gulf of Guinea, our Bight of Biafra, very safe. Especially when you see that the kind of trading that goes on there is where you have, your tanker takeovers around your Togo triangles and all that. Now, but I think what is important is we are now in IMO, okay? We are at C, but we could also want to be at B, and we could also want to aim at A. So what is important is that what happens are the people at the A. Those are the people that now have, national, flags. They have been able to get there, vis-a-vis the volumes that are moving around. If you look on that list, you would see that China is number one, because China is easily, the global leader, in shipping. And then you find out that Korea is also on that list. Let's not talk about America, and then, you know, the other countries, UK, Japan,
UK, Japan,
you know, that are
yes,
there. Now, they are there because, first and foremost, they have that capacity vis-a-vis available physical facility, ports, ships, handling, you know, downtime, okay, when you're entering and when you're leaving. Now, these are all the things. And then their capacity and ability to also make ships. I remember at one time that Nigeria, you know, probably had the only dry dock you had in, you know, sub-Saharan Africa. It was in Nigeria. And that dry dock meant that we could actually now do a lot of work, you know, on very big ships. Okay. So what I think this is all about right now for me is not even what you can benefit from the IMO, because IMO is an agency, if you may, of the United Nations that is more regulatory than it is operational. Okay, because what it does is that it makes certain that you have your regulation, which is key, that's the first thing, and then human capacity, and then ensuring that you have your environmental laws that can make your, you know, seas clean, you have your capacity building, you have your advocacies and all that. So it's like some, you know, room where interests are being aggregated for what you might be able to call the common good in the maritime industry. Now, you talk about economics, and this is where it even gets a little bit more interesting. For us, 46,300, you know, square kilometers of our continental shelf. Okay, 850, you know, kilometers of our coastline. Biggest mangrove, you know, I think in the world or in Africa. And then you have your coral reefs. Okay, you have, you know, so much that is happening in our marine and our blue, you know, economy. Now, if you now do this integration, you now begin to find out that the opportunities that are therein contained in our marine and blue economy is almost cross-cutting. Okay, a lot of energy through what you call the OTEC, okay, can be generated, and this is sustainable, this is green energy. Okay. Now you talk about seabed mining. You'll be also surprised, you know, not even just the fishing, but mining, you know, seabed mining, deep dive mining. These are all the things. You're not even talking about tourism, you know, potentials. You're not even talking about maybe what you call the marine protected areas. So it is endless. Of course, you're not talking about even agriculture. You're not talking about mariculture. Okay, you're not talking about aquaculture. You're not talking about industrial, you know, and commercial scale, you know, fishing. Now, these are all the things that can be able to now support almost an endless back end. Okay, remember that your question is the economic benefits.
And how
So,
it attracts.
yeah, so it is for us to now make certain that we are able to derive, okay, in principle and in practice. And this is why I think one of the other guests has talked about, we have done the political. Okay, now, if you're talking about the social, you must also now bring in the environmental. If you're talking about technology, you're not talking about facilities, you're talking about physical, you're talking about soft and hard infrastructure, you know, that can be able to now make your ports very attractive. Now, you must also, like I said, talk about your capacity to be able not to just build ships. I'll give you a typical example and I'll rest on this. Right now, we have about 3,000 or thereabout, if my figures are right, ships that are sunk in our waterways. Now, more are sinking because some of these ships are now running into the ones that are already, you know, sunk because of the capacity to clear them speedily, you know, and effectively. And not just only clear them speedily and effectively. There also has to be, you know, a system, both legal and technical and operational, that can be able to now convert those, okay, that cannot be returned to service, you know, into something that is usable. That's another story of another day. So it's a whole gamut of line of stories, but the opportunities therein contained is just too enormous for, you know, a 30 minutes or 1 hour interview, you know, to what I'll take as much as you want.
It's endless.
It's endless, yes. Well, we'd like to remind our viewers that we're expecting your questions so that the experts can respond to them if you need to get some clarification on the C category of the IMO for Nigeria. Well, you begin to understand if you send your contributions and questions so that you can get, you know, clearance on that. Let's bring in the SA2, the minister, now into this conversation back. You know, we've talked about opportunities, you know, that the seat will create for Nigeria's port development, the shipping industry. Now let's talk about strategy. Like Mr. Emmanuel Ilori said, there's the political aspect, and now we are on the seat. So what is the strategy, you know, that the technical committee is bringing out to ensure that, you know, our port development and shipping industry is enhanced and to international standard?
Yeah. Thank you very much for that question. When Captain Caleb spoke earlier, I wanted to add to what he said to drive home this point, because it is very important. It's not just about being on the council for the sake of being on the council. It's not for bragging rights. It's to enable us develop our own shipping sector. And that really is the aim. See, to even get into the council at all, we had to ensure that we tried to address certain issues that would not represent us, you know, properly before the international community. You are aware that, I mean, IMO member states don't even joke with the IMO member state or the scheme, the IMSAS. So we had to ensure that we put our house in order. And that, in doing that alone, we develop our capacity or enhance our capacity to function as a proper flag state, as a proper port state, and even as a coastal nation. So that is key. That way, you begin to develop your capacity. And if you go to the IMO, it's big business. You are talking of the convergence of about 170 countries. It's not just what we are doing here at the ministry. We have representatives at IMO who are participating every day in technical sessions. We have an alternate permanent representative, APR, William Wala, who is very well respected within the IMO circles there. It's full-time work, this. Now also, talking about the economic benefits, and I like the approach that the Honorable Minister adopted. While we were going from one country to the other, while we were meeting with heads of delegations of other countries, the Honorable Minister was also selling our maritime sector to them. He was wooing investors alongside, and that was a very good opportunity. You are aware that, yes, we have challenges in our seaports, for instance. We have a lot of challenges, and we are not sweeping that under the carpet. But the good thing is that the federal government has decided to confront these challenges headlong. The Federal Executive Council in May approved a $1 billion contract to modernize and upgrade Apapa and Tinkan Island ports. It's a revolutionary approach, not dealing with the issues piecemeal, but the FEC has, at the instance of the Honorable Minister, looked at the totality of the issue and decided that, look, we need to tear down certain structures and rebuild in its entirety. We want to modernize the ports. And as that is happening, and I assure you within the next 4 years, you will see a brand new system in Apapa, both Tinkan and Apapa ports. We have also commenced the procurement process for modernizing and upgrading the ports outside Lagos, Port Harcourt, Onne, Warri, and Calabar, especially. Now, so in the course of the campaign, the Honorable Minister was also seeking investors. And I remember during the week of the campaign, indeed, a day before the election, that was on Thursday, the election was on 28th, on Thursday, 27th, we had a meeting with the Chinese Minister of Transport. Very interesting meeting. And the minister, our own minister, told the Chinese minister that, look, thank you for supporting us, because they said they were going to vote for us. And we also assured them of support. And then the minister said, well, we've settled that. Now, I have a problem. I want to modernize and automate my ports. And I know, because he has been to China, China has 52 modern and automated ports operating, functioning. You go there, you even see people around. It is just the work going on. And the Honorable Minister said, look, I want this in Nigeria. And then the discussion started. And we have a very firm commitment from the Chinese government that they will come assist us to address these shortcomings within our system. So these are some of the benefits. It's not just campaigning for the sake of wanting to be on IMO Council. It's good. That gives us a voice and a visibility. But we are also using it to drive our own marine and blue economy. The Honorable Minister also met with his counterpart from Qatar, and there was agreement that Qatari investors will be coming to Nigeria to invest in Nigeria's marine and blue economy very soon. So these are some of the benefits that we've been deriving, and I'm sure that within the next couple of years, we'll begin to see the results. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Bolaji Akinola. The benefits, you are for rolling out the benefits that Nigeria is will get derived from the membership of the Category C, and also the modernization of the ports, that is ongoing. But Engineer Ilori raised one particular issue, and that is the issue of us being able to implement properly, for us to be able to sustain, our membership in Category C. There is need for us to be able to implement the IMO regulations and conventions. What are government agencies like NIMASA doing? What role will they be playing in the implementation of these conventions? And, you can let us in.
No, Nigeria has been, I think we have done very well in the area of acceding and even domesticating some of this, most of these IMO conventions and instruments. I think we haven't done badly in that area at all. The IMO member states will not have respect for you if you do not have respect for IMO conventions. So that has helped us also, to get the support of the IMO member states during this election. NIMASA is very much on ground. The Director General of NIMASA was a member of the technical committee for the IMO Council election. The alternate permanent representative to Nigeria, who is fully working in London full-time, is the deputy director, is the staff of NIMASA. So NIMASA is deeply involved. They are our focal agency in interacting with the IMO. So, and I assure you that NIMASA has been working a lot under the leadership of the Honorable Minister to ensure that we stay on the council this time.
Thank you so much. I will return to you. And let's bring in Captain Caleb Bako back into this conversation. You were there at the election in London, and I'm sure you share some of your experience with you. But from strategy to responsibility, can you tell us what are the key responsibilities that comes with holding a Category C, seat, and how can Nigeria ensure it performs effectively and retains the seat in future IMO elections?
Okay, thank you very much for this important question. Just to make it clear, I was not there at the election for the IMO Council. However, this question is very important, as Dr. Bolaji has mentioned. It's not just about electing us into the council for election's sake, but it's very, very important for us to be able to address the pressing challenges. Our voice must be heard. Our voice must not just be heard like that. It must be heard when it comes to policy. There are a lot of issues that the global maritime landscape is facing. For instance, the issue of decarbonization, maritime security, compliance with certain international rules and regulations. Is very, very important, because sitting in that council is not just sitting, but is going to give the Nigerian technical committee an opportunity to change a lot of narrative. Like Dr. Bolaji mentioned, when you are facing out ships, it's going to take time to face out ships. The way you face out ships in developed countries and the way you phase out ships in developing countries are two different issues. So Nigerian will sit there and also ensure that whatever rules and regulation that are being adopted and implemented by the IMO is something that will also take into consideration of developing countries, which is very, very important. And as you are aware, the IMO has different committees. It's very important to clarify that. There is a Maritime Safety Committee, there's an Environmental Protection Committee, the Legal Committee. We also have the Facilitation Committee, which is very, very important for us to understand. And being in that council, we are going to be represented in all the committees. Like he has mentioned, the alternate permanent representative of Nigeria to IMO is there, attending to all these issues on a daily basis. However, it's very, very important for us as a country, like Engineer Eloria has mentioned, implementation is a key, and which I believe with the roadmap that we have, with the ongoing reforms, with the ongoing commitment by the federal government, I have no doubt that we are going to implement most of this regulation. We are going to implement most of the roadmaps that have been adopted. The Nigerian blue economy hold a huge potential, which is very important. For us to be elected into this council, what does it mean? There's visibility. And it means that we are complying with a lot of regulations. We are being compliant. And when investors see someone in category C, they are sure that you are in compliance. They are sure that you are not just being elected into category C for election purpose. They have confidence in you. Why do they have confidence in you? Because they believe that you are going to comply with most of the regulations. And by that, they will come and invest in infrastructure and superstructure. We have a huge potential when it comes to coastal tourism. We attract investors in coastal tourism. Like Dr. Bolaji has mentioned, they have already reached out to Chinese counterparts. And if you go to China today, they have the most automated ports in the world. Imagine all Chinese investing in Nigeria today. We are going to have automated ports in Nigeria. What will happen? We are going to reduce the turnaround time, or we are going to increase the turnaround time of the ship, which is very important. And it's not just important for the maritime sector, but also for the common man, because it's going to reduce the cost of goods and services. Another very important aspect is about job creation. When we have this foreign direct investment coming, it's going to create job opportunities for our citizens. And then it's going to also boost our revenue. So this election into the council comes with a lot of potential benefit. And what is very important is for us to keep the sustainability, for us to keep the momentum, the reforms that the federal government have started. I strongly believe that we are going to continue to sustain this reform. And at the end, we are going to yield a lot of positive outcome. Imagine the $1 billion that have been invested in modernizing our port. In the next 4 years, the issue of congestion will be the theme of the past, which I'm certainly sure about it. If you also look at the national policy on the marine and blue economy, the roadmap, the 10-year roadmap, once this roadmap has been implemented, we are going to be the giant of trade in Africa. And then with the African free continental trade coming into play, where we'll have a single market, Nigeria is going to play a crucial role, which is very, very important. So election into category C is not just about election, but it strongly gives us a strong voice, and is going to ensure that all the technical expertise that we are required to ensure that the challenges that we are passing through, we are going to have that technical expertise, which is very important. And when you look at the technical sector, when it comes to the education system in Nigeria, the maritime education system, Nigeria has always been on the forefront on complying with IMO conventions. We have Nigerians today that have Nigerian certificate of competency, and they are being employed in foreign vessels. That shows a political will from the government. Another important aspect is about the regional cooperation and intelligence gathering that has to do with the security in the Gulf of Guinea. If you go to the International Maritime Bureau website, Nigeria has not recorded a single case of piracy. So I strongly believe this election will help us to sustain this momentum. We are going to be at the forefront of regional cooperation because we have done it in the past and will continue to do it again.
Thank you very much, Captain Bako, for that. We have done it in the past and we're able to do it again. And this election will help us to sustain the reform achievement in the maritime and blue economy. All right, we'll take a break now. When we return, we have a lot of questions and comments from our viewers, which we'll read out for our guests to be able to respond to them. Then we will go to Lagos for comment from our Lagos guests. So stay with us.
Nevertheless, we must come to terms with existential reputational threats to our national brand, in which external purveyors of untruths are mischaracterizing our nation as a destination for a so-called persecution of people based on their religious faith. This is a propaganda externally woven by those who want to break or weaken our unity. For the upteenth time, I'm emphatic that there's no iota of truth in the communication that is out there, that there is a deliberate, calculated effort where one particular religion is targeted for extermination. I therefore urge us to use the instruments of public relations crafted in truths and facts to vehemently reject this single despicable narrative about Nigeria. It is incumbent on all of us to unite in a voice that will ensure that Nigeria is indeed a country that is anchored on the freedom for everyone to practice his or her religion. In any case, that is what our Constitution stipulates.
The Renewed Hope Initiative RHI presents the RHI Green Nigeria Challenge. Go green today for a greener tomorrow. This national competition is in 3 categories. The household category is a tree planting competition amongst 11 frontline states in northern Nigeria. Each participating household in Adamawa, Borno, Bauchi, Gombe, Jigawa, Kano, Katsina, Kebbi, Sokoto, Yobe, and Zamfara states will plant a minimum of 1 tree to qualify, with a video evidence of before and after the tree planting exercise. 20 million naira will be awarded to the best household. Submission deadline is 20th December 2026. Community category will see local governments, local communities, schools, and NGOs reclaim and transform degraded or abandoned areas such as dump sites, landfills, parks, and their likes into green, vibrant gardens, parks, and eco-friendly spaces. 50 million naira would be awarded to the overall best community group. Deadline for submission is 15th July 2026. States category will have all states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory, excluding Enugu State, have a chance to address the growing threats to environmental sustainability and cleanliness. States will be judged based on the number of trees planted on major roads and inner streets and how clean they are. 100 million naira will be awarded to the best performing state. Already, Enugu State has 100 million naira for being RHI's model green state due to its greenery and cleanliness. Video evidence must be submitted by participating states on or before 20th December 2026. All entries must be directed to RHI Office, State House, Abuja, or email rhi.greenchallenge@statehouse.gov.ng. RHI Green Nigeria Challenge. Go green today for a greener tomorrow.
Thanks for staying with us. You're still on to Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA. Our conversation is still on the re-election of Nigeria into Category C of the IMO. And before we went on break, we had some comments and questions from some of our viewers which would like to read out so that our guests can respond to them. The first one is from Akeju Olagbaju, and he says, IMO Council meeting has come and gone with election into 3 categories. Categories A and B are subject to election and status driven. At the last election, 20 countries were admitted to Category C and designated of having particular interest in maritime navigation or transportation. Nigeria joined in 1962, and our current focus is to develop blue economy. What really stopped Nigeria as an old member to vie for Category A or B so as to be a major player in global marine corridors for trade and transportation? Now, the second one, before I pause so that we can have a response, this one is from Kayode Busari. Kayode Busari is from Lagos. Said, good morning, Nigerians. Well done, NTA. Many thanks for the topic of discussion today, like always. Congratulations to our Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy. More wins by God's grace. But upon all these reforms and giant stride being made, are there measures or policy initiatives being put in place for the stakeholders, especially the local players, to benefit from all this? How can we, ordinary citizens, take advantage of the sector too? How are we not going to be left behind? How are the ministry unbundling the sector for level playing field for all? My fear is for the sector not to be a mystery to the common citizen like the oil and gas sector till date. I mean, maybe the essay will respond to some of these questions, and also Engineer Ilori. Okay, let's first take Engineer Ilori because we've not heard you. So let's just have your response to some of these comments. And also, I want you to tell us, what other challenges do you think Nigeria is likely to face besides the issue of implementation as a member of this Category C, and how do you think they can be addressed?
Very much, NTA, for organizing this very, very significant analysis of our IMO Council election. And I have just 2 issues because we cannot address all the issues like in this program. Dr. Emeka raised a very, very important issue, the safety of ship operation in Nigeria. And he gave us statistics about 3,000 vessels on the ground, posing a threat to ships operation in Nigeria. We are very well aware of this challenge. Nigeria used to be a repository of substandard vessels. And during the last election, when we went in, we gave various undertakings to the global community that Nigeria is going to do things better. And one regulation that came into place, more really targeted at Nigeria, was the elimination of substandard ships and then quick get back to the ship recycling regulation. Nigeria went in there and said, we are going to do something. Unfortunately, it has not. And this has significant economic impact for Nigeria because ship recycling is a multi-billion-dollar business. The substandard vessels that cannot go back into trade, like Dr. Emeka said, are there. Unfortunately, we have not. At that time, the opportunity came that Nigeria will go into Category C, and that once we develop on that, we'll have a special interest and nothing will stop us from going to Category B. I'm just trying to address some of these challenges. Now, 2, we are now in Category C as representative of the global region, as a global regional representative, which means Nigeria is now recognized as a maritime regional power. Then we need to then do what it takes, because the powers in the global maritime industry are all located regionally, the Southern American states, the Asian states, European community, and then of course the Americas. So I'm coming here that as a concerned person, that we should not waste this opportunity this time. The African regional bloc is very, very significant, and Nigeria has a voice and an interest in this area. So these are some of the conditions that should make us to be able to advance. There are so many issues within the African continent that Nigeria can champion and that will be of economic and political interest to other regions in Africa, which means Nigeria may not even have to campaign to move from category C to category B. Thank you, we have a very pragmatic minister, but I believe that we have what it takes. Take the oil sector, for instance. Ships or maritime assets in the oil sector will have to be moved to other regions. Actually the Arab countries have a very significant oil sector repair facility. What stops us from developing this sort of facility as a regional power, as a huge, big oil-producing nation? So all I'm saying now is that let us begin to consolidate our position, our interest, our ability to ensure that we don't have to tell the minister, go and campaign. They will be inviting our minister, come to category B. And these are some of the issues that come in for. Let me just rest in at this point because we don't have much time.
Yes.
Some of those comments.
I have some questions. Let me read them out. Some questions also came in. Let me read them out before we go to the SA. Akim Akomwe from Abuja said, my question is, what is the significance of MOWCA in the inclusion of Nigeria in IMO? Because Nigeria now is the Secretary General of the Maritime Organization for West and Central Africa. Thank you so much there. And Engineer Olatunde Olayinka itemized some advice he would like to give to the ministry. He said, good morning, Nigeria. Nigeria's election into the IMO Council will bring several benefits, including, I'm just going to read some of them, enhanced maritime governance. Nigeria will have a stronger voice in global maritime decision-making, enabling it to shape policies that impact the maritime interest. Increased economic opportunities, improved maritime safety and security, and capacity building. Nigeria will benefit from training, workshops, and best practices, sharing to enhance its maritime capabilities. Now, let's bring in the SA back into this conversation. Yes, we've been there, and and now we're back again. So, what must be done differently this time to maximize the impact? And also, I know Nigeria is an ambitious nation where we have ambition to get to category B and category A. So what reforms and improvement to attain that must Nigeria make domestically to sort of reflect its international maritime, ambitions to get to a higher level of the IMO?
So thank you very much. And I agree with everything all the experts on this panel have said today. There was a question before I speak on it that asked the role of MOCA, the Maritime Organization of West and Central Africa. Yes, the Secretary General of MOCA is a Nigerian, Dr. Paul Adaliku. And I must also put on record that MOCA was also very much up and doing in this campaign, supporting the Honorable Minister. Indeed, all hands were on deck, and they also contributed to the success that we recorded. Speaking on the benefits, well, I think that's what we've been talking about all day, and how to move from C to B. And I align with my big brother, the Engineer Emmanuel Ilori's position, that we must develop to the point that we won't need to campaign too rigorously. People will just see that, oh, Nigeria is indeed a strong maritime nation, and it should be either here or there. So it's work in progress, and I assure you there is a lot of work going on. We've talked about the port modernization. It's work. It's the reconstruction, modernization, and upgrading of those two major ports. They are the two largest ports in Nigeria. That's why the government is starting with them. Apapa Port and Tinkan Port will be starting early next year, and that will translate to huge benefits to the Nigerian economy. When you are doing construction worth over $1 billion, that will create more jobs. In fact, we estimate that at least 20,000 jobs will be created as a result of that modernization and upgrading alone. Then talk of consider the benefits that will then come to the country when all the bottlenecks in and around our trade facilitation, when those bottlenecks are removed and all that. So it comes with a lot of benefits, economic benefits to the country. And also, let me state here specifically that the one key issue we have here, and which many probably don't focus on, we talk very much about ports, we talk about the ships and all of that, which is good. The Honorable Minister was also very much desirous of ensuring that Nigerians are able to compete in our coastal trade and even in international trade. And we are working very much on that. He's working very much on that. I also am optimistic that in the next couple of years, we will see more Nigerians owning more vessels. And when they own more vessels, and those ones that are already struggling with their businesses are put back on their feet, that will also translate to economic benefits for the country, because they'll be able to employ more of our seafarers and more young Nigerians who are looking for jobs. And most importantly also, the Honorable Minister is working very hard to end illegal, unregulated, and unreported fishing. This is one issue that has really affected our fish production in Nigeria. And there are strategies ongoing, which I cannot talk about now, to put that to an end, because we have a lot of foreign vessels coming to our waters illegally and steal our stock. Practically, that is what they do, and we want to put an end to that and empower Nigerians to do more in that area, and that way we'll be able to boost fish production. And when that happens, we'll be able to reduce importation of fish into the country, and thereby saving ourselves much needed foreign exchange, and that will reduce the pressure on the naira and also create more jobs for our youths. As it is now, there is a gap of about 2.6 million metric tons in our fish production and consumption, which we are filling through importation. But I believe once these strategies that are being put in place begin to mature, we'll see a drastic improvement in our fish production, and that will also help us to create more jobs for our teeming youth. Thank you.
Very much, Dr. Bolaji Akinola, for letting us know the various efforts the government is putting in place, to modernize our ports, and also the engagements that it will be to the youth, employment opportunities, and all that. Now let's get back to the studio now, where we still have Dr. Okengu. We have been looking at the various, benefits and opportunities that can be derived from, our membership, this category C. But let's look at regional cooperation now, and what opportunities does Nigeria membership on IMO Council present for regional cooperation and integration?
A lot of it. But in trying to build these opportunities, it's important to build the back end. Because if you're talking about the maritime sector, you're talking about bulk movement of goods and services. That is the LCM. And let's talk about this ship. a ship is all about steel and steel products. And for a country that has an estimated 3 billion metric tons of iron ore, I'm now trying to link it so that the SA had talked about 20,000 jobs. I want to add another 50,000 jobs to it. I want to add it practically. You have 3 billion metric tons of iron ore sitting. You have probably the biggest steel plant. Okay, 98%. The remaining 2% people talk about at Jokuta is more of technical switching on and off.
Dr. Ging, you have to because of time, so we can get the other.
You need to understand it.
Yes.
I'm trying to push from the cabotage because the SA had talked about Nigerians having the capacity to own ships.
Okay.
If you build ships, it's a lot easier for you to now have a credit scheme that can allow you to own them.
Okay.
Okay, and then own them and then be able to now domesticate that ownership in your local currency because you're building ship. But maybe if you don't have time to do this today, just have it at the back of your mind that if you're going to be building this regional integration, there has to be your capacity, to be able to now build what is most required in building this regional integration. Now, some other person had talked about fishing and fishing trawlers coming in here, and then measures for you to be able to also control that sector through regulation, oversight, and all that. But what is also more important is your capacity to now restock that fish stock, that even when somebody wants to steal it, and then, being able to monitor your waterways in real time. It can, like I said, it's a very interesting but very complicated, but yet very easy, subject area. But that does not have a straight answer. Because you asked me a straight question that doesn't have a straight answer, unfortunately. But maybe if we have more time, we can be able to drill into it. But that capacity exists, and then we can be able to drill it down so people understand it clearly.
Okay, we have like 4 minutes to go. Let's bring in Captain Caleb into this conversation. It's not all about government. What, in your opinion, should the private sector do to sort of support, the federal government in this, ride, because I call it a ride, to category B and category A? In 30 seconds, if you can.
Okay, thank you very much. For us to move to category B, like Dr. Bolaji has mentioned, we need to expand our fleet, which is very important. Countries in category B are mostly countries with the highest tonnage. So the private sector has a key role to play. And very important, with the vessel cabotage finance is going to go a long way. When the private sector invests in shipbuilding, when the private sector invests in ship acquisition, I believe we are going to have an expanded fleet, which is very important. When it also comes to port modernization and port competitiveness, the private sector also have a key role to play when it comes to concessioning, because the government has concessioned most of the port to private terminal investors. So we need more investors, more private investors to inject more funds. By that, we will be able to grow our port competitiveness. We will be able to grow the local capacity, which is important. And lastly, when it comes to human capital development, especially in the areas of seafaring, the private sectors have a key role to play, especially the private owners of this vessel, to provide bed space for these cadets so that they can be able to complete their mandatory sea time. By completing their mandatory sea time, we are sure of having large number of seafarers to address the global shortage of seafarers we are having. And lastly, I want to congratulate the federal government of Nigeria. I want to congratulate our minister. I want to congratulate the president for the political will for this election to category C. It shows its good political will from the government, from the president, and from the honorable minister who have worked tirelessly. Once again, congratulations and thank you.
Thank you very much, Captain Bako. Now, let's quickly get the parting shot from Engineer Ilori. Just in 30 seconds, please.
Interestingly, the last speaker raised the issue of cabotage, and we're talking about port development and all these things. Where do we have competitive advantage in the regional trade. We can have our indigenous operators operating this significant trade. After all, you can start to develop from home and then build from Africa. The Jones Act that we went to copy in the cabotage trade is the same status. But I would suggest that we should take a stock of Nigerians' vessel requirements and ensure that we build capacity locally to build these vessels in Nigeria. Instead of the cabotage fund being sent abroad to develop other nations to build ships there, let us build the ships locally where we have the competitive advantage of the regional trade. Thereby, we will be developing not only capacity, we are acquiring capacity, we'll be acquiring the necessary infrastructure to make sure that Nigeria is a technically sound and respectable regional maritime interest. That is where our strength lies.
Okay, Engineer Emmanuel Lori, former senior marine surveyor, Lloyd's Register location in London. He joined us from our Lagos studio. Thank you so much. I have a question that somebody sent in for the minister. In 30 seconds, I would like you to respond to it. Said, good morning. The modernization and upgrading of the ports are good. I'm asking for or suggesting that government should have started with one port in Lagos and probably on in Calabar. This to the essay in 30 seconds. Can you respond to that? So round up.
Well, the FEC in its wisdom has approved that the modernization should start from the two largest seaports in the country. These two ports together, I think, control over 70% of our port business in the country. So that has been done, but it's not leaving out the port outside of Lagos. The procurement process is ongoing, and I assure you within the next couple of months, that approval will come through, and that work will also start there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Bolaji Akinola, essay to the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy on Media and Communications. He joined us in Lagos via Zoom. Thank you so much, as always, for your contribution. And Captain Caleb Nladibako, seasoned master mariner and founder, Fulham Marine and Offshore Services Limited. He joined us from London via Zoom also. Thank you so much for your contribution, as usual. And Dr. Emeka Okiongo, expert in the technical cooperation with the World Bank under the Pro-Blue initiative towards the development of coherent blue economy in Nigeria. He was member technical committee on national policy for marine and blue economy, seated here in our Abuja studio. Thank you, as always,
it's always an honor
coming
to be here.
and sharing your experience with us. And thank you so much, Nigerians, for being part of the show this morning. Tomorrow, another interesting topic will be discussed. I am Juma Yusuf.
I'm Ademola. You do have a wonderful day.